So we're taking today's Fun Friday on the road. We're going to go see Spy again. It'll be my third time seeing it, and Lisa's second time seeing it. I saw the first 2 times I saw it in a row, 2 days in a row, and then the next day I felt awful that I wasn't seeing Spy again, and we waited almost a whole week to see it again. I thought a week ago today. But in honor of seeing Spy and this being a Fun Friday video, I wanted to do a response video to one that I saw, and I meant to go back and rewatch her original video, and I didn't because I actually had to do real work at work today and not just watch YouTube all day. And unfortunately, I'm so mature and responsible. So I will find the original video and post it below, and Lisa will post it here in between us or over her face. I don't know how that works because she does all the editing. Yes, this is Lisa. So, but the video that I wanted to respond to was about the lack of female friendships in books, and I wanted to talk about that a little and also give some recommendations of books that I think have really great female friendships in them. Pass the Bechdel test and all that stuff that I love so much. And as we do it, well, yeah, because Spy has great female friendships in it.
Oh my gosh,
between people who were friends before, and then like weird friendships between villains and the good guys. So here we go. Let's see how this goes. We've never filmed in a car before, which I mean, we've taken epic road trips before, but we didn't film any of it. So Lisa might lunge for the camera if it goes anywhere.
It's a good thing this is not a one person.
Okay.
We managed to back out of the driveway.
And now we're on my gravel road, so excuse the bumping. I'll wait to talk until we get on the not gravel. So hashtag country living. Gravel roads, you know, like you do. So I was gonna say this episode will probably be even more rambly than usual because I wrote down a list of books that I wanted to discuss like 2 weeks ago when I first saw the video, and then added to it, and then lost it, and then wrote it again, and added it to it, and then lost it again. And then I was going to write it again today, and like I said, I did other work. Am I not looking at the camera so much? We'll commence now. Okay. Great. It's all going to be Lisa. It's okay. In my head, I was going to make this all nicely categorized, and I was going to have different categories for the categorization, but so I'm just gonna go off the top of my head and whatever. Part of me understands why there is a dearth of really well developed female friendships in books, and I think that's because a writer, even when they're trying to be diverse, you don't only have so many pages. You can write as long of a book as you so choose, but you want to get stuff done in your book, right? If you spend all your time developing small side characters too much, you can get off topic, especially if your story is really plot driven and not character driven. So it's difficult to, if you really like plot driven books, to really find excellently written, side relationships if the 2 main characters aren't girls to begin with.
Especially.
Yeah. Which doesn't mean authors shouldn't try to do that. And there are a lot of writers, and I think there are more and more who are doing that and tackling those issues. So the books that I want to talk about all do pass the Bechdel test, obviously, because if you didn't pass the Bechdel test, you aren't having good female friendships in your books. I wanted to start with one that at first I thought of the series because I always think of the series when I'm talking about books that I love, and I almost discounted it, and then I remembered like some of my favorite relationships in this book are female friendships, and that is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. Yes, exactly.
I needed a moment.
That was how my soul was reacting. That I had to keep attention to.
You're driving, I'm the reactor.
Yeah, there you go.
I show the emotion.
Yeah, you're my Mystery Science Theater 3000. Okay, so Yeah, but at first I was like, oh, well, no, it's just Blue and the boys, her Raven boys. But some of my favorite characters in the books are Mora and Kala and Persephone. And they have a super strong female friendship that is not front and center in the book, but is very important to the book. And I really hope that one day Maggie writes a prequel where we like see how they met and how they became friends and started living together at Foxway, and how she met, what is she called, Buttercup, or what is she, sugar bean or sweet potato or butternut how she meets Butternut and all that stuff, which might be more tackled in The Raven King in the next book, but we know what happened in Blue Lily Blue. I can't say it. Lisa, say it.
Blue Lily Lily Blue.
There we go. In that book that I can't say, and that was rough, but their friendship is really cool, and I really love the way that it's written. Especially how they're more than friends, they're like family who's not family, and they all step up to help raise Blue in different ways. And as someone who lives with her sister and her sister's boyfriend, and like kind of helps raise my step niece, and my sister has a baby on the way, like I believe really strongly in it takes a village. So I just think that's really cool. Let's see, moving on, because if I don't move on from Raven Boys, I will just talk about it forever.
This will be a Raven Cycle video.
This will be a Raven Cycle, and that's fine. We should do that one day.
Yes.
The second book that I wanted to talk about was the Lunar Chronicles, sort of, but mostly in Cinder and any of Cinder's stories, because Cinder and Aiko's not technically a person, but she very much has a personality, and she and Cinder are very close, and even though she's an AI or a robot or cyborg or whatever her category is, their friendship is really important because they help each other through different things, and Cinder's really committed to Aiko and saving her when she's in trouble, and vice versa, which is wonderful.
I haven't actually read this.
Oh my gosh! They're really good. Because come on, like Cyborg Cinderella was not to love. Cyborg Cinderella. I just finished a really, really great book that fits this category perfectly, and that's Under a Painted Sky. And I can't think of the author's name. Lisa will come up with it in a second, but it's historical fiction, and it is about a Chinese American girl and a runaway slave. Ooh. Yeah, I know. And they are on the run for murder. I won't tell you what happened, but it was murder. And they're on the run. Stacey Lee. Stacey Lee, yes. I heard Stacey Lee. I was like, that's not right. Stacey Lee. So Under a Painted Sky by Stacey Lee. And they're on the run from the law, and they are trying to get west because they want to meet up with Samantha, because they call her Sammy. Because they decided to take the Oregon Trail to meet up with Samantha's father's friend, who is going west to California. So it's the middle of the gold rush, and everyone's on the Oregon Trail. But two girls, one being an African-American girl and an ex-slave, and a Chinese girl in a place where Chinese girls were not found, would be too conspicuous, so they disguise themselves as boys, and they fall in with a group of cowboys who are also headed towards California. And it's great because both of the girls get a love interest because it's a YA book, but the big relationship is between Sammy and Andy. Andy? Yeah. Andy, yeah. So I'm trying to think of her boy name. Sammy and Andy. And they're amazing. Like, they realize that they're sisters, like, obviously not biologically, but they would give up anything for each other, and they choose each other over other people. And it's really great because they didn't know each other when they started out, and they help each other through hard times, and they give each other advice, and they save each other's lives, and it's so good. It's so good. And the cover of the book is so cool. Yeah. So that's another good one. Under a Painted Sky by Stacey Lee. Okay. So I also read recently A Mad Wicked Folly. I cannot also not remember the author of that book. Sorry. But it's set in the early 1900s in England and a little in France. And the main character wants to be an artist. Her name is Victoria, and she wants to be an artist really badly, and she skips her finishing school classes and goes and takes drawing classes in this studio in France. And while she's there, she becomes one of the models for the class, because the rest of the class is all modeled before, and she needs to take a turn because they need someone to model for them that day. Only they're doing life studies, so that means that she has to model nude. And in Victorian England, well-to-do young women whose fathers own toilet emporiums, as Victoria's father does, do not pose in the nude. And she gets found out, and she's brought home in disgrace, and the only way that she can kind of save herself, or that she sees to save herself from further disgrace and to get back in her dad's good books, she agrees to marry this well-to-do guy, thinking that once she gets married, she'll be independent and she'll be on her own, and this guy is pretty cool, so he might let her go to art college, which she desperately wants to do. There is a love interest, obviously, and he's awesome, but she makes friends inadvertently with the suffragettes, because this is also the time of the fight for women's right to vote, and she at first doesn't think that she's a feminist and doesn't think that she's a suffragette, but she slowly comes to that realization, and she makes friends with Lucy and a couple of the other girls who are prominent in the movement, and she does that as well. So it's a really great book about becoming yourself. A Mad Wicked Folly by
Sarah Sharon? Hold on.
It's three. She's got three names.
Waller is the last name.
Yeah, Sharon Biggs Waller. It's excellent.
It's pretty covered.
A Mad Wicked Folly. Yeah, it's also really nice. Yellow Dress for her coming out fall. Who else was I going to talk about? I could talk about Scarlett Undercover again, which was last week's video. That one has a really great sister relationship. Sister relationships are really complex because I think you spend a lot of your time as a sister sometimes competing with your other sister or not understanding them because you're around them too much and you see them too closely. But in Scarlett Undercover, she and her sister butt heads a little, but they have a deep respect for one another, and that grows in the book, and they genuinely enjoy being around each other even if they don't have the time to be around each other all the time. And they take care of one another, which is always really good in female relationships. So, do we have time to talk anymore?
It's 7:25.
Okay, a few more minutes. We're in the parking lot, so make this quick. Maybe I'll film a part 2. So I can think of more things. Oh yeah, any book by Gail Carriger or Carriger, I think it's Carriger, has great female friendships in it. If you like steampunk mysteries and steampunk supernatural stuff. Well, so like most steampunk books are set in Victorian England.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was during the Industrial Revolution, and so that's when steam was getting big, and so in alternate histories, that's when steampunk usually happens. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure there are caveats to that rule, or exceptions to it, or whatever. So, any Gail Carriger series, like the Soulless series, which is the Parasol Protectorate, but especially the Finishing School series that starts with Etiquette and Espionage, because it's set in an all-girls school, and it's some of the girls are snippy, and you get that boarding school rivalry and awfulness. But for the most part, it's girls working together, even though they have a lot of differences, and fighting the bad guys, and they're cute boys. Yeah, but they're not all bogged down by the cute boys and
that's not the main focus.
Yeah, it's not the main focus at all, and that actually, even though there's kind of a love triangle, the main character spends more of her time conflicted about
the task at hand.
The task at hand, and and more like changing her relationships with the guys, and that would mean that she wouldn't be friends with them anymore, and she values like friendship more than she values like a romantic relationship. And she's only like
sweet.
14 or 15, and she really feels that young and doesn't want anything like that. And there are girls who are not happy with their gender, and they're also friends and accepting of each other, and it's great. I think that's all I have for now, but we're gonna go watch the movie, and if I have any more thoughts when we come back, I don't think we'll have enough light.
Spotlight.
We are. Oh, okay. So we might film some more when I get back. If not, I will try to come up with more and film a part 2 for later. All right. In the meantime, should I do my regular sign out? Okay. In the meantime, do all those nice things you can do on YouTube, which, like this video, comment below. If you have any more ideas of books I can talk about in my next one. Oh, there's Caleb behind us. This is great timing. Comment below about other books you'd like me to talk about, or that you think I should read so I can talk about them. Mm-hmm. And subscribe, share with your friends, especially if they are looking for good female friendships, and books where girls aren't mean to other girls, which I think is very important. And I'll see you for part 2. And Lacey will. Bye! I don't know where the sound is. Bye.